UFC 317, Oliveira against Topuria took place last night, and boy, oh boy, I mean, it was a great card all around. The main card was a little slow. The prelims were bangers, a lot of finishes and quick finishes, especially on the prelims. So, I mean, this is a Money Manziel MMA production. You guys know the deal. We're going to get right into this fight recap. We're going to start in the main event. Terrorist. Ilia Topuria is a Hitler-level individual. They need to kill this guy because what he's doing to everyone's favorite fighters is unbelievable. There was never a moment where he was in danger. It just, like, Charles was bleeding so fast. I remember sitting with my friends and being like, how the fuck is Charles bleeding this fast? It was never going to get monetized, but now the video's definitely demonetized. But I was like, how the fuck is Charles bleeding this fast? Like, what even hit him? There was a moment in the clinch where it looked like maybe Charles was stronger, but then Ilia quickly kind of reversed him on a hip toss, and he ended up passing into a crucifix for a moment. Charles threatened a half-hearted leg lock, but when they got out to range, there was no chance. Ilia made him bite with the body jab and then a jab up top. So then he stepped in like he was going to jab again, and Charles went to go parry it, and the right hand left hook landed flush. The right hand knocked him out first, and then the left hand just made him fold. So, great win for Ilia Topuria. My guess is they're going to do Gaethje next. I think that Dana was upset in the press conference that Patty got up there because I think they want him versus Arman next. He does horrible things to Justin Gaethje. I think if you do a Justin Gaethje fight, you make Ilia turn around fast for it. Because I know he's a superstar, but that's like a fight where we already know what the fuck's going to happen there. Like, obviously Gaethje hits hard, but man, there is no path to victory other than a lucky one-punch KO, and he doesn't even fight like that anymore. So, those would be the most wild odds probably ever if you looked at that fight. Like, I think you'd get Ilia as like a minus 800 favorite versus Justin Gaethje, maybe even more. So, Ilia Topuria was a great win. Congrats to him. I kind of was hoping that Charles was going to retire in the cage. I know people don't want to hear that, but he's 35 years old. He's old in fight years too. He's been in the UFC for 15 of those years. He's been knocked out a lot of times. He's never been flatlined before, and at 35, getting flatlined after another chance at the belt. I don't see a path back to a title for Charles. I think it's over for him, man. I would love to see him retire on this one. Maybe give him like a main event in Brazil versus like kind of a jobber lightweight. Maybe you do like Charles versus Gamrot in Brazil and Charles retires there. That would be my hope for Charles next. So great win for Ilia Topuria. Co-main event. Listen, man, Pantoja is so much better than these flyweights. Like, it's not even close. He, at one point, just bulldozed Kai Kara-France over because he was annoyed that he didn't get a takedown. KKF literally did not land anything that seemed consequential on the feet. In the grappling, he never had a chance. Pantoja quickly would take the back and get to the body triangle every single round. I kind of thought that KKF would survive to the fifth. I thought a lot of people felt that way. But man, it's just a legacy-building fight. I think you do Pantoja and Josh Van next. We'll talk about him in a second. That'll be a great fight. I'm excited for that. Maybe you do Manel Kopp and Brandon Moreno. Hopefully you get... I'd like to see Manel Kopp in a title fight because I just don't want to see Pantoja continue to fight the same guys. But Josh Van's new blood, that's exciting. And he's the second best flyweight of all time. I mean, there was no question anyways. Maybe, no, Cejudo jumped up immediately. But man, we're going to start getting to a point, if he gets to 6 title defenses, you can start going best win versus best win with Mighty Mouse at a certain point. It's a debate that isn't had yet and probably won't even be had after the Josh Van fight. But, man, I mean, I know Mighty Mouse had 11 defenses, but we're talking about, like, Wilson Heiss, Tim Elliott, was Scott Jorgensen Dominic Cruz? I think it was. There's a bunch of guys in there that are not UFC level talent anymore. So I'll be interested to see what that discourse looks like in about a year's time from now, but great win for Pantoja. Next up, I mean, Josh Van, dude, how do you not love Josh Van? Like, this guy's so fucking good, man, and it was the fight of the year. I thought he won the first and the third. I actually edged the third to him anyways, pre-knockdown. I thought it was a very close round, but when he landed, it was just a little more legit. Like, he's always had kind of a suspect chin, But Royval has no pop in those shots. We saw the Moreno fight where Royval was just kind of touching him the whole time. It was the same deal here. Royval can throw 600 strikes, but a lot of them are not of consequence. He threw, I'd say, about 80 of consequence out of that 600 or whatever that number was, like 400 strikes. I'd say 80 that he landed were consequential. But with Josh Van, everything he threw was setting up power shots. And I think that was the critique that he had for a long time. Early in his career, I say a long time, he's only 23. But it was the early critique he had because he would just kind of jab at you, hit you to the body, and Josh Van broke him down for a third round KO. But now in the first round, he's landing big power shots that are staggering guys, dropping you when he's tired in the third, and he didn't break you down the whole fight. So I think it's a great win for Joshua Van. Super excited for his fight against Pantoja. I really think there's a chance he wins. I do like the Ray Soria fight as a show of his grappling defense because he's legitimate takedown defense. The issue for me is off of his back. I do wonder if Pantoja is going to have a big edge there. I could see a world where Pantoja just kind of sneaks to the back, maybe gets some like body lock takedowns on him, bulldozes him because he's going to be small. But it was a great win. I think him versus Pantoja is going to be pretty decent odds on both sides too, so definitely interested in that. Beneil Dariush. Listen, at this point in his career, man, Manny Moicano can afford to lose. I don't think he's got the hunger anymore. I know he talks like he does, but you get your title shot, you lose in 2 minutes, you get paid a shit ton of money to do it, and then you got to go back and fight the guy you were training for anyways. When Dariush just had a full camp the entire time, I'm sure that Hinato took time off after the Islam fight. He did knock down Beneil, though. It is true that Beneil's chin is still terrible. Like, he really, on the feet, Beneil, in terms of standing in the pocket with people, it's not happening, man. He's always not had a great chin, but Hinato Moicano knocking you down is a real low point for your chin. So that'll be interesting to see in his next fight, but his grappling is really impressive, man. His takedown defense was so incredible. Even better than the Gamrot fight. I felt like Gamrot, he actually let him get in a couple bad positions, but here he was offensive with the wrestling, and it ultimately won him the fight. And he just, other than the one right hand at the end of the first, he was just a little bit better. Landed a lot of body kicks. He was landing that left straight a couple times that I thought would clip Moicano, but never really landed clean on him. Overall, it was a great win for Beneil, man. I had it 2-1 Beneil like everyone else did. It was a fantastic win for the old guy. And I don't really know who you do him versus. I'd like to see him versus another striker to see if he can actually hang. Maybe you do him versus Fiziev. It's close to where he is in the rankings, so I'm sure he isn't too upset about it. It's a name, so it could catapult him into a big fight. But I need to see more proof that he can eat a shot, because getting knocked down by Moicano was a tough start. So, is what it is. Great win for Beneil. Peyton Talbot. I'm telling you, man, Pride Month Peyton Talbot, mythical fighter. I've heard other people say this. People forget, man, Talbot developed takedown defense at 26. But yeah, he looked really clean on the feet. I don't know if anyone noticed this, but in his Barcelos fight, he was super flat-footed chasing him down. Like, it was very bizarre the way he was throwing. It was like he had no clue what was going on. But in this fight, he was bouncing around. He was kind of taunting mid-fight, landing clean shots. It looked like he was a little less confident, but by the end of the fight, he was having fun. So I think it was a great omen for him to win that third round. Because if it was different, if it was he won the first two and then Lima threatened submissions in the third, and he was kind of beating him up, it was close. But instead, Talbot won. I'm trying to remember the exact rounds that I felt like he won. I thought there was a good argument for him to win 3-0. I didn't agree with 29-28. I thought one judge would give him a 3-0, but kind of is what it is. I thought Talbot got every round. It was super close. But he showed improved takedown defense, and he also just was less flat-footed, man. Bounced around. He had that uppercut. He had that nasty heel kick, the spinning heel kick at one point. So it was a great win for Peyton Talbot. I would like to see a Ricky Simone type of guy, a guy that's going to shoot blast takedowns on you, and a durable guy that Peyton Talbot is really going to be tested against. He should be a favorite against probably minus 180, minus 190. But it's a great win for the confidence for the kid, so good for him. Next up, Jack Hermanson genuinely almost died. Like, they had to keep updating us during the main card if Jack Hermanson was alive or not. That was how brutal the knockout was that RoboCop had. This guy, he kept throwing that right hook to the body, then left hook kind of clubbing up top, and it kept just whiffing. And, you're watching and you're like, fuck, bro, if that left hand lands, like, I know Jack has been knocked down by some guys who are less powerful. And, brother, he connected with that left hook to the chin, and he went to fucking sleep. Like, on contact, on impact. Jack Hermanson genuinely went unconscious as soon as that knuckle hit his chin. He fell to the ground. Now, you'd think, right, a rational human being would see Jack Hermanson laying unconscious on the ground, and they would run and they'd tell RoboCop, hey, man, stop the fight, whatever. Herb Dean just watches it happen for a second and lets RoboCop unleash the hammer fist of doom and pain and misery and agony on Jack Hermanson and bounces him up in the air with this hammer fist that comes from his head. Hermanson was unconscious for 3 minutes, basically. I messed up the typo. There was clearly a typo here, but I was going to say Rodriguez does not tour damage well. Like, I don't even know what he got hit with to be bleeding as much as he was, but he kept bleeding from both sides of his forehead, and then his eye was messed up. I did not think Jack hit him that many times, but interesting to look at going forward. I know he had that cut a couple fights back, so there's a lot of things with Gregory Rodriguez, but it was a great win regardless. Wish he didn't do that hammer fist, but violence is good from time to time. Next up, thank God for Jose Delgado. Listen, I like Hyder Emil a lot, man. He's an exciting fighter, but come on, we can't have 35-year-old prospects in the sport. We can't have Lerone Murphy, bro. Yeah, we cannot have these guys. Emil ran out there blitzing at him with strikes, threw him a little bit, and then as soon as they got back to range, Delgado landed a knee. It pretty much immediately colded Hyder, and then he landed a nasty elbow and punch that actually kind of woke him up. But it was a good stoppage. Another guy out of the MMA lab, man. They've got some serious guys. They got Bautista, Delgado, Marcus McGee, Sean O'Malley. They've got a lot of guys now, and I'm sure there's way more I'm forgetting out of the MMA lab. They've got some more. But really incredible, at what we're getting to this point with Tim Welch's guys. So I have this thing on the bottom that says the best thing that could happen for Hyder Emil. I want to explain this. Hyder Emil is 35 years old. He's gritty, he's tough. Now he knows he cannot be champion. We can put this guy in exciting brawls. We give him the Bobby Green role where it's just like kill or be killed every fight, but we know it's going to be fun because of the way they fight. I think Hyder Emil should embrace it. I think he should become a fan favorite that way and just scrap Drew Dober style also. I think that's the best thing that can happen. Hopefully he'll make some money in the process of doing that. But at 35 years old, man, you're not going to be champ, especially if you're not as durable as people thought. So, good win for Jose Delgado. Next up, Tracy Cortez was the only reason anyone should have watched this fight. Listen, the cameraman, he honestly could have done a little bit better, but we got some mount moments. We got her in half guard a little bit. Yeah. But I will say the funniest moment of the fight, and it's kind of badass, was Arosa was bitching and whining the entire fight about oil in the gloves, which, by the way, is so unbelievably retarded because how would oil in the gloves help? Unless it's for, like, gouging your opponent's eyes or something, that would make it harder to choke someone. It would make it harder to land clean with punches. So that doesn't make any sense. She probably was just fucking sweating because you're in a fight. And while she was complaining, Cortez was screaming at her in Spanish, which I thought was pretty fucking cool. And, she's gritty, man. She really is. We saw it in the Rose fight, too. She's got some fucking anger in her. So it was a great win for her. She won every round, every second of every round outside of, like, an early takedown, which she reversed anyways. And it was a great win for Tracy Cortez, but it was a very Tracy Cortez-esque win. It was maybe threatened a moment, but overall just, fucking win a decision. So, good win for Tracy. Next up, America does indeed have a Khabib. Listen, Terence McKinney grappled heavy versus Fres Ziam. He grappled heavy versus Damir Hadzovic in his last fight. Mike Breeden, I even believe he took down and finished, although it may have been just on the feet. I'm trying to remember specifically. But we've always known that McKinney can grapple. He is a really good wrestler. He never uses it because he prefers to get knockouts on the feet. But we also know that with McKinney, right, if he would just commit to submitting people and, you know, trying to wrestle fuck them and whatever else it may be, he's legit, man. I mean, the transition that he had, and Joe Rogan was glazing it, but Anaconda, then switched the side to go to Adaris, and then mounted with the guillotine. Slava was on his bike. He was trying to keep the blood flowing, but there was no chance he was surviving. Everyone knows that Slava Klaus is completely clueless with takedown defense, and once he's on his back, he got put in 3 different submissions with no resistance. He tried to fight it. Good on him for at least not tapping immediately, but, I mean, it was a tough scene for him. He's 8-6-1. I don't know where he goes from here. Maybe give him, like, whatever the hottest prospect is at lightweight now, man. I mean, I don't really know who there is at 55, but give him someone. Good win for Terence McKini, though. Next up, this was our second to last fight we're talking about. Jacoby Smith versus Nico Price was interesting because if anyone else had the type of fight that Jacoby Smith had versus Nico Price, we'd be applauding them. We'd be like, wow, Nico Price is pretty durable outside of the Lawler fight. That's a great win for that person. They submitted him, they knocked him down, took him down, ground and pounded him, dominated him. But because Jacoby Smith was the biggest favorite in history and looked a little gassed in moments and not that clean on the feet and tired, it was interesting. He had a jab that floored Price, which was crazy. But Price kept doing this in the first round where he would give up his back because he knew that Jacoby Smith had never submitted anyone. But it came back to bite him when he gave it up in the second round, and Smith hopped right on that back, and pretty easy submission win for him. And it was a great win for Jacoby, man. I hope Nico Price probably gets cut, to be honest with you. And I would like to see Jacoby Smith. Who do I want to see Jacoby Smith versus? I mean, I was gonna say Joel Alvarez. No, give him another guy outside of the top 15. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. But I'd like to see him fight a guy outside of the rankings again. I don't want to see him jump up there. He's not ready for it yet. So we'll see what they do at 170. I'd be interested in a couple different fights of that weight class, but who knows? Maybe Miktabek Oralby moves up and he fights him. I think he wins that. But either way, good win for Jacoby Smith. First fight of the night was Janata, Denise, and Alvin Hines. The fight wasn't actually that good or entertaining. The entertaining thing about the fight was that Alvin Hines ate 80 billion shots and kept coming. He was wearing damage immediately in the fight. Denise was touching him up. He was landing that check left hook a bunch of times. I think if Denise would have sat down on some combos, he would have finished him. Or at least the ref would have had to stop it. But it was a good win for Denise. Hines didn't do anything. But Denise did gas, and DC was, like, fucking glazing Alvin Hines the entire time. He's like, guys, Denise is so tired. Like, this is insane. And, you know, he was still kind of even with him in the final round. So, good win for Janata Denise. He's not a legitimate prospect, man. We need someone at heavyweight. I hope the Contender Series has a whole season of heavyweights. But, either way, that is the UFC 317 pay-per-view and prelim breakdown. Really the full fight card. Hope everybody enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, subscribe down below, like down below, comment down below. What else? My TikTok, Money Manziel MMA. Please go follow it. We're gaining followers every day. I feel like I post clips from these videos a lot. So thank you boys for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.